Hi, good morning, everyone. Fine. So next in line, we have another uh, use case wherein we wanted to deserialize multiple records of opportunity. Now, see, yesterday, let me open that code first of all. So it was a JSON parser class wherein I have created another method. So I'll just try to grab it. All right. See, first of all, let me take a quick recap of the things what has been done so far. I have told you like how we can perform the deserialization for a JSON content. That means if we are having a JSON data with us, if we are having a JSON data with us, something like this. Now, how we can convert that JSON into a Salesforce object record? How we can convert that JSON data into a Salesforce object record. I mean, a data that is going to be get stored inside an object of Salesforce could be any standard or any custom object. So now this process is something what we used to call as deserialization, isn't it? Now we started with this first example wherein I have told you like if we wanted to I mean, for this example particularly, I'm not going to say that we actually have stored that JSON data inside an object, but rather we displayed that contain on string on screen by using a system.debug statement. But then we actually have understood what is a role of JSON parser class throughout this process. So this program, which was a very first program, this has introduced us with the technique what needs to be get followed if you are converting a JSON data, right? That was the intention of this program. Now, coming to the second one, which we have seen on yesterday. So I first of all have created like day before yesterday, I created this method, the second method where we were having a similar content of JSON, but that data represents an account record, right? And we created a similar kind of program where instead of using a system.debug, we actually have created an object of account. And with respect to that object, we accordingly, after parsing, we accordingly have created a record that was being inserted at the end of the program. At the end of not program, at the end of this business logic. So I I make you aware about this technique, which was a conventional way, but later on we realized that this is a little lengthy way. This is a little lengthy way. We can definitely optimize this instead of designing this business logic by using a JSON parser class. What we can use is like a method called as deserialize method. So JSON class has one of a ready-made method to perform the deserialization. And that method yesterday we have seen like how we can deserialize a JSON content so that it can be inserted, it can be stored inside an object, it can be used as a record of an object. But there is one consideration. There is one consideration, or rather, there are two things what you should always put that in a place. You should always have to verify for this. There are two considerations rather. The first, inside in the JSON format, you have to check that every field name in the JSON format, all right? Because JSON is again a field name and like key value pair, something like that. Like, do we have a map collection? We have a map collection. And see, I wanted to tell you one thing more. This key value type of thing, what you have studied for the first time inside in the map collection, like, when I introduced map collection with you, I told you that, see, map is entirely different I mean, if you would see the list collection or maybe a set collection, there are very much similarities between them two. Apart from a few of the differences, like list is an unordered collection, whereas set is an ordered collection. List allows you to enter the duplicated elements, whereas set does not allows you. So whenever we wanted to maintain uniqueness of record, in that case, we will be going to use the set collection, like set of IDs, mostly. Map entirely is a different collection, isn't it? The structure of map collection is very much different. It's completely on opposite poles. Map is what? It's a two. I mean, when you create every record inside a map would have two things. Would have two things: key and pair, key and value. So it's a kind of that thing. Now see this format: key value, key value, key value. You are going to see this in a lot many times. I guess that was the first time probably map collection. आज फिर second time आपने देखा JSON. JSON is also arranged in the same way. When we structured a JSON data, one single element is always structured like key and value. Keys are always, I mean, in case of map, it's always unique. In here, I would say keys are always string. I'm not going to say unique, but I would say keys are always string. Keys are always string. Now, this is something you are also going to learn with imperative methods. When you would learning LWC, you have started somewhere down the line you would going to learn something called as imperative method. What is going on right now in LWC? Can anyone please tell me what you guys are learning right now? What is going on? Yes, can anyone? You have this command, you can unmute. What is the present topic that is going on in your class? Ram is taking what topic?
Sir, functions. Today we end with the functions.
Function of JavaScripts.
Okay. Have started with decorators, API, track, or wire?
No,
Not
sir.
yet, sir.
Okay, maybe he's going to start it later on. Well, I would probably take a program wherein I would going to explain you. Hmm, let me see whether I can do that or not, because I have a few programs where the front end I have created in the Visual Force page as of now. I'll check. I'll see whether I could convert that into Lightning page if possible, if time. If I would get the time, I'm definitely going to do that. So maybe I could also explain you a few things out of this context. Let's see. Let's hope for that. Anyways, so you would going to, this key value thing type of thing. Now you are going to learn it with two or three contexts, or I mean, with two or three different forms. So this is really important. JSON is also something called as key value. Your imperative methods, what you use in the LWC, that is also a key value type of things. You're going to learn that later on. Don't worry. Now, see, with this program, yesterday, what I have taken, I told you that, see, there is one simple way, there is one optimized way to perform the deserialization. Instead of writing this much lengthy program, you can definitely reduce the number of lines of the code. You can optimize this just by writing one class, just by writing one line of code. You can convert that entire business logic into just single line. And that was very, that was very impressive thing, isn't it? You have to use JSON.deserialize. So when I was saying that. So if you are using deserialized method, there are two things in constraint which you have to keep eye on it. The first thing, every key name inside in your JSON, that should have an exact match with whatever the fields of that object. If you are using an account object or maybe a contact or whatever the object you are trying to convert it, and then you would be storing this inside that object. So उस object का जो field name है ना, उसका साथ ये exact match होने को ना, ये अगर जरा सा 19-20 हो गया ना, इट्स गोइंग टू गिव यू एन पार्सिंग एरर, आपको पार्सिंग एरर मिलता है। तो देखो, मैंने जब ये प्रोग्राम, इसके पहले मैंने वो भी ट्राई किया तुमको कि तुम वो डिफरेंस को समझ पाओ। मैंने इसके पहले के कोड में मैंने यहाँ लिख दिया कस्टमर प्रायोरिटी को अच्छे से, मतलब वो अंडरस्कोर अंडरस्कोर हटा के, है ना। और मैंने कहा कि देखो, इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। इफ यू आर पार्सिंग विद द कन्वेंशनल वे, जहाँ आप जेसन पार्सर क्लास का इस्तेमाल करते हो, तो वहां आपको इस चीज की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है। लेकिन अगर आप डीसीरियलाइज मेथड यूज करते हो, तब आपको ध्यान देना पड़ता है कि हर फील्ड नेम जो आपकी जेसन फॉर्मेट में है, दैट शुड हैव एन एग्जैक्ट मैच with the particular field name of the object. ये चीज हमको देखनी, ये हमारा पहला रूल है। This has not been written in the notes, so I wanted every one of you to please make a short note of this. वैसे भी आप बैठते हैं क्लास में तो थोड़ा सा नोट्स आई मीन एंड रनिंग नोट्स बना लिया करिए, कॉपी बाद में आप आराम से फेयर करें उस चीज को। तो पहली चीज जो ये है कि आपको ध्यान रखनी वो ये बात है। सेकंड, आफ्टर परफॉर्मिंग दिस डीसerialization दिस वुड रिटर्न एन एस ऑब्जेक्ट रिकॉर्ड। तो हमको एक्सप्लिसिट टाइप कास्टिंग करनी पड़ती है कि in which particular format of the object we wanted to convert this, right? So this was a pretty good example to understand how we can use deserialize method to perform the process of deserialization. I mean, converting a JSON data into a Salesforce object record. Now, this was related to just converting one record. What if you would have to convert multiple records, which obviously is a case in real time. आप समझ सकते हैं इस चीज को। ये बहुत रेयर होता है ना यार, ये बहुत रेयर होता है कि हम केवल एक ही रिकॉर्ड, हमारे पास सिर्फ एक रिकॉर्ड हो जिसे हमें कन्वर्ट करना है। और ज्यादातर तो अगर हम रियल टाइम पे बात करें तो वी ऑलवेज सी दैट देयर आर मल्टीपल रिकॉर्ड्स that needs to be get converted, and obviously it's is to be get stored inside the object, any object of the Salesforce. तो आइए हम उस पॉसिबिलिटी पे बात करते हैं, एंड लेट मी शो यू लाइक how we can actually do that. So I have a use case with me wherein we are having a few of the records of opportunity, more than one. This is that JSON data you can see, and we wanted to deserialize this. We wanted to deserialize this, and accordingly we wanted to store them inside in the opportunity object. I guess there are three records at a time. So what I'm going to do would be, I first of all would oh yeah, I already have this. So I would follow that same process we have done over here. So I first of all, let me create a separate method for this one. Inside in the same class, I am creating like public static void, because this method is not going to return me anything. And let me give the name as parse bulk opportunities, NITIES, opportunities JSON. So this is the name what I am giving to this method. And let me now see, I mean, just like to this code. Oh, every time when I try to select, it opens that commented code. What I'm going to do, I would follow the same pattern what we have followed it over here, right? Same thing. I will not try to make anything indifferent in this. What is the error that I'm getting right now? Uh-huh. Oh, that's pretty strange. Did I missed out something over here? I think, yes, 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 yes. No, no, ये तो सही है. Public static void. All right, let me see why this is giving this error. Anyways, we were going to see that. Anyways, I am following the same pattern what I followed for this one. Let me define a string variable so that I could store the entire JSON format into this. So public, sorry, string. Let me give the name as opportunity JSON. So opportunity JSON equals to, and here, I wanted to store the entire content of JSON, entire content of JSON. I wanted it to be get stored over here. तो अगर आप इस तरह से देंगे तो it's going to give the error because string में line break नहीं होना चाहिए. So I would copy this whole content. I would copy this whole content from this and I just paste it out over here. And let me now try to save this. Let's see what happens. It is giving me this error, public static void. That's little bit strange. Thin unexpected token. Did I put up a dot anywhere? Do you see a dot? Oh, it's gone. Why it's gone, I don't know. Anyways, so that is the first thing. That is the first thing. You have to create a string variable wherein you can store the entire JSON payload. That is what I just have did. So this is my JSON payload, and that contains a few records of opportunity which we wanted to be get converted first of all, and then we accordingly we wanted to it all of these three records to get stored inside the opportunity object. That is what we are trying to achieve over here. Now see, I would follow the same pattern. You can assume, देखो आप सोच सकते हो कि अगर मैं इसको कन्वेंशनल तरीके से बना था तो कितना मेरा प्रोग्राम का साइज काफी बड़ा होने वाला था. बट आई एम गोइंग टू मेक अ यूज ऑफ दिस स्टेटमेंट, द deserialize method, right? So once again I would be doing the same thing. I am using the method called system dot JSON dot deserialize, system dot JSON dot deserialize, right? System dot JSON dot deserialize. I'm going to make a use of this statement only. And just like yesterday we did, same thing. मैं repeat करने वाला हूँ. So in the first parameter, you have to give the name of, either you can supply the whole string over here as well. The second and the good approach, which makes it more readable, is like you store it inside a string variable and just pass on the name of that variable over here as a first parameter. Now, second, you would have to mention what apex type you are trying to convert this data. So for this program, see, it was like account class, just account class, right? In the same way, one second, yes. Yeah, in the same way, here I would going to write opportunity.class. Why? Because I'm converting this in the form of opportunity. I'm converting this in the form of opportunity. Like with this, I was converting in the form of account. So I have written this in the account class. Now, similar to this, you can find the relevancy, a very obvious relevancy. I'm converting this into, I'm converting this into opportunity. But see, there's a difference. There's a small difference. This time, I mean, with this program, with this method, there was only one record. So when there's only one record, you just have mention account, right? And similarly over here as well, right? Over here, every time like you are converting that, you would have to perform the typecasting, then you have to store it accordingly. Right? It's the same pattern what I have written over here. I'm following the same pattern. But see, there's a difference. The difference is like with this content, you were just passing a single record, whereas this have multiple records of opportunity. When there is multiple records of opportunity, you have to make that significant changes everywhere. What is that? You cannot you cannot just write down opportunity. You have to write down list of opportunity dot class. What you have to write list of opportunity dot class instead of just writing opportunity dot class. When there's only one record, you can directly write opportunity.class, account.class, contact.class, hiring manager underscore dot c dot class. All right. Physician underscore c dot. I mean, you can, for a single record of the particular object, you can just give the name dot class. But for multiple records, if you're passing a multiple records, then you have to mention list of opportunities dot class. Same over here as well. You are typecasting this not in a single record. If it is a single record, you can directly give the name. But because after typecasting, it's giving you the multiple records of opportunity. So you have to, in the typecasting as well, you have to mention list of opportunity. And same here as well. List of opportunity and just take it inside any variable. List of opportunity. And you can simply take it inside any variable. That's not a. All right. So this is this is how this is how, let me try to save this once. So this is how you can parse. This is how you can parse multiple records of a particular object, right? This is the only difference, and it's pretty simple to understand, isn't it? So, why this error is coming out? Let me see.
Space.
Sorry. List. Oh, that's gone. I have given one space over here. Maybe that was the only reason. Yeah. Now you have that collection. What you did after that? Tell me. Here you just have one variable. You inserted that variable. I'm going to follow the same thing. I would be inserting this whole collection so that how many records it's have, all of them is going to get inserted, right? And it was a single record, so I'll check it out like this. अगर मैं इसके लिए करूंगा तो अब मुझे for loop लगाना पड़ेगा, वो भी possible है, but we'll not bother this, right? We're not going to bother this, and let me just save and try to verify this. So inside in the opportunities, let's see how many records right now we have. So if I would go with all opportunities, I can see there's 143. And if we would insert 3, so this count is going to become 146. Today, internet is slow, I guess. It's taking time to compile all this. I'm not sure whether the intelligence would going to work or what. It's taking time. This is taking time to save the record. ठीक तो है. Anyways. Mhm. So let's execute this and let's see. So this has executed. You don't have anything in system.debug, so we cannot verify things from there. Rather, we have to go over here. And previously, as you can see, there were 143 records. Now, if I would refresh this, I can see there's 3 new records have been added. If you wanted to search, we can even do that. So what were the names of JSON? So I'll just try to find it out with the list of J. I don't see that. Let me scroll it like this only. EF, so C, D, E, F, I, J. It has to be. Do we have any something called recently viewed? All right. So these are those 3 records. You see, these are those 3 records which we have inserted right from the JSON content. So guys, this is the way. This is the way to perform the parsing of multiple record, and this is going to be your program every time. When you would do is this in the real time, you have to follow this pattern. You would going to get the data, which usually is called as JSON payload. you know you have to, first of all, you have to store it inside a string variable, and thereafter, do one thing. I mean, before performing this deserialization method, just cross verify the field names with the field names of the Salesforce. That is what you have to do. And one more thing, of course, one more thing. If you see that if there is a field name, which is actually a pick list in Salesforce, you also would require to check for the value. Because understand, if you try to, for this stage name, if you try to give anything apart from this value, which should have an exact match, you should have an exact match. यहाँ पर ये case sensitive भी होता है. तो अगर if you would try to give any other value apart from this, it will again going to throw you the error. तो एक दो बातें हैं जो आपको ध्यान रखनी है. पहला, आप अपना जेसन पेलोड जो है उसको पूरी तरह से एक बार देख लें. इफ यू आर टेकिंग दिस फ्रॉम डीसरियलाइज मेथड, तो आपको ध्यान देना पड़ेगा इसको. अगर ये मैच हो रहे हैं अगर ये मैच हो रहे हैं और इफ देयर इज एन पिक लिस्ट हैविंग द एग्जैक्ट वैल्यू, तो आप ये सारी चीजें ध्यान दें. अगर इफ दिस एग्जैक्टली वर्क, सारी चीजें बराबर, इफ एवरीथिंग इज इन अ प्रॉपर प्लेस, देन एंड देन ओनली यू कुड गो विद द डीसerialize मेथड. अगर ऐसा नहीं है, बाय द वे, in the cases when you are receiving the field name which is different but the data represents something in the Salesforce, तो फिर आपको ये मेथड आप यूज नहीं कर सकते. फिर आपको जो कन्वेंशनल तरीका मैंने सिखाया इसके पहले, बाय द यूज ऑफ जेसन पार्सर क्लास, तब आपको उसको डीसरियलाइज करना पड़ता है. ठीक है. अब मान के चलिए कि यहाँ पे जो फील्ड्स आ रही हैं उसका नाम कुछ और हो, जैसे यहाँ पे कॉस्ट हो, ठीक है, यहाँ पे स्टेट हो, यहाँ पे कुछ और हो, ठीक है, यहाँ कुछ और हो, बट दैट रिप्रेजेंट, लेट्स से कॉस्ट रिप्रेजेंट्स अमाउंट, एंड बट वट एवर, लाइक यहाँ कॉस्ट की वैल्यू दी हुई है, बट आपको डिसरियलाइज करने के बाद उसे अपॉर्चुनिटी के अमाउंट में स्टोर करना है. दैट मैपिंग यू हैव, लेकिन आपका जेसन कंटेंट में फील्ड का नाम अलग है. लेकिन आफ्टर पार्सिंग दैट, यू कैन स्टोर इट, यू कैन टेक इट इनसाइड एन ऑब्जेक्ट एंड देन यू कैन स्टोर इट इनसाइड अमाउंट. तो अगर आपके जेसन कंटेंट में फील्ड नेम have a exact match with the Salesforce field name of that particular object, आप डेफिनेटली डीसीरियलाइज मेथड यूज कर सकते हो और रेकमेंडेड है। लेकिन अगर आपका जेसन पेलोड वैसा नहीं आ रहा है, बट इट रिप्रेजेंट अ सिमिलर एंटिटी इन सेल्सफोर्स, समझ रहे हैं आप कि अगर नेम नेम है या अमाउंट के बजाय उन्होंने कॉस्ट लिख के भेज दिया, बट यू हैव दैट मैपिंग डॉक्यूमेंटेशन कि जेसन पेलोड में उसका नाम कॉस्ट है, लेकिन जब आप उसे स्टोर करें तो आप उसे अमाउंट फील्ड में स्टोर करते हैं, अपॉर्चुनिटी। नाउ यू हैव दैट मैपिंग डॉक्यूमेंट, तब आप डीसीरियलाइज मेथड यूज नहीं कर सकते। इसीलिए आपको मैंने ये दोनों वे से बताया है, बिकॉज दोनों पॉसिबल है। हम जब पार्सिंग करते हैं तो दैट कंप्लीटली डिपेंड्स ऑन द जेसन। अगर हमें डेटा एग्जैक्ट मिल रहा है तो फिर हम यार डीसीरियलाइज कर सकते हैं, इट बिकम्स अ वेरी इजी जॉब, तब तो बहुत आसान हो जाता है। लेकिन अगर आपको उस तरह से नहीं मिल रहा है, आपके मान के चलिए कि डिफरेंसेस हैं फील्ड नेम्स में, बट कि आपको स्टोर कहाँ करना है उसको, है ना, आपको ये पता है, अगर अगर आपको ये पता है उसे स्टोर कहाँ करना है। जैसे मान के चलिए इन सिंपल वे आई वाज टेलिंग कि यहाँ पे जेसन पार्सर में उसका नाम जो है, लेट्स से जेसन पार्सर में एक इंडस्ट्री का नाम है बिजनेस, ऐसा मान के चलो थोड़ी देर के लिए आप। तो ये बिजनेस का जो वैल्यू है, हाँ, वो दैट दैट हैव एन एग्जैक्ट मैच विद द सेल्स फोर्स। तो अगर हमें ऐसा एक डॉक्यूमेंट दिया गया कि उसने बोला देखिए जेसन पेलोड में इसका नाम तो इंडस्ट्री बिजनेस है, लेकिन जब आप उसे पार्स करें, है ना, तो पार्स करने के बाद जब आप उसका टेक्स्ट लें, वो वैल्यू को आपने कहाँ स्टोर करना है, इंडस्ट्री फील्ड ऑफ अकाउंट। फोन का नाम अगर सेल नंबर है, मोबाइल नंबर है, तो आप उसे पार्स करें और पार्स करने के बाद उसे आपने एसीसी डॉट फोन में स्टोर करना है। तो ये जब हमारी केस होती है, तब देर इज नो अनदर वे टू डू दिस विद द पार्सिंग जेसन डॉट पार्सर, पार्सर क्लास, जेसन पार्सर क्लास, तब आप डीसरियलाइज नहीं कर सकते। सो ये प्रॉस एंड कॉन्स हैं, बेनिफिट्स एंड ड्रॉबैक्स हैं, या ये कहें कि दो अलग अलग रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से क्या पुट किया जा सकता है, हमने वो देखा। सो there now what we have done so far, like what we have understood, let me try to summarize that. We learn there are two different methods to perform deserialization। ध्यान से सुनिए मेरी बात को, पिछले 3 दिन से हमने जो सीखा है मैं उसको समराइज कर रहा हूँ आप लोगों को, ध्यान से सुनिए। और कोई अदर टॉपिक नहीं है अभी, बस थोड़ी देर, सैटरडे विल गोइंग टू एंड अप दिस वेरी सून। तो ध्यान से सुनिए मेरी बात को। सीरियलाइज करने के लिए, जब आप सीरियलाइजेशन का मतलब होता है आपके एपेक्स डेटा को जेसन में कन्वर्ट करना, जो जिसका जैसा कोई शॉर्टकट नहीं है, कोई मल्टीपल फॉर्म्स नहीं है, बस एक ही होता है जेसन जनरेटर, जो हमने इसके पहले वहीं से हमने शुरुआत की। ठीक है, वो था हमारा सीरियलाइजेशन, जहां पर आप एक एपेक्स रिकॉर्ड को या मल्टीपल एपेक्स रिकॉर्ड को, जैसा भी है, आप उसे जेसन में कन्वर्ट करते थे। बाय there's only one class and there's only one way to do that, by using a JSON generator class, right? अब जब हम इसके अपोजिट में चलते हैं कि when we when we intended to do a deserialization, जब हम डीसीरियलाइजेशन करना चाहते हैं, जहां पर हमारा इंटेंशन होता है कि हम एक जेसन डेटा को कन्वर्ट करें और सेल्सफोर्स ऑब्जेक्ट का कोई एक रिकॉर्ड उसमें जनरेट करें, ठीक है, और उसे स्टोर करें, ऐसा कुछ भी, जैसा भी आप, या उसको सिस्टम डॉट डीबग से प्रिंट करें, वट एवर इट इज। तो हमारे पास में फिर दो चीजें आती है कि देर आर टू डिफरेंट वेज टू डू दैट। सबसे आसान वे होता है आप डीसीरियलाइज मेथड को यूज करें, ठीक है, सबसे आसान तरीका होता है आप डीसीरियलाइज मेथड को यूज करें। लेकिन डीसीरियलाइज मेथड तभी यूज हो सकती है जब आपके जेसन पेलोड में जो फील्ड नेम है, दे हैव एन एग्जैक्ट मैच विद दैट पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जेक्ट जिसमें आप उसे कन्वर्ट कर रहे हो। अब एक रिकॉर्ड के लिए क्या करना और मल्टीपल रिकॉर्ड्स के लिए क्या करना, तो वो भी हमने देख लिया, दैट इज जस्ट अ स्मॉल syntactical differences, nothing else, a small syntactical difference। Anyways, तो अगर आपके सामने ये केस आती है, तो आप सबसे पहले ये देखेंगे कि भाई जेसन पेलोड का फील्ड नेम सेल्सफोर्स ऑब्जेक्ट के फील्ड नेम के साथ एग्जैक्ट मैचिंग है या नहीं है, ठीक है। अगर है तो आप, बहुत आसान है, फिर तो बहुत ही आसान है, आप डिसेलाइज करके जस्ट सिंगल लाइन में सब कुछ कर सकते हैं। और बाय द वे अगर ऐसा नहीं है ना, तो फिर आप जो है ये जो इसके पहले हमने पार्सर क्लास वाली मेथड ली, इससे आप कर सकते हो, ठीक है। तो दोनों तरीके हैं, दोनों तरीके से ये किया जा सकता है, एंड दैट कंप्लीट्स लाइक द जेसन वाला पार्ट जो था हमारा, जनरेशन एंड पार्सिंग, ठीक है, दैट कंप्लीट्स दिस टू थिंग। नाउ I'm going to take this later on. अभी मत बनाओ इसको, अभी मत बनाओ इसको. I would be taking this in a separate program. अभी इसको कुछ मत करो. Just skip this. And in the next session, which is going to be on Monday, I'm going to start with the STTP classes. STTP classes, right? How we can interact with the external APIs, how we can interact with like the external APIs, particularly for to say the inbound integrations when we would be transferring certain parameters to an external system. And I'm just trying to give a brief background of this. So see, if there is an external system, and if this is your Salesforce, and let's say if you're transferring a few parameters from the Salesforce to this external system, right? And after compiling, this external system is giving you a response. It's giving back a response to you, which you probably is displaying, or you are storing this inside whatever an object or something. So for this whole transaction, for this whole transaction, how would you establish a connection? How would you establish a connection with Salesforce? How would you establish a connection from the Salesforce with the external third-party system? For this particularly, we would be learning something called as STTP classes. This whole exchange of ideas and everything, that has been carried out with a proper syntactical form, which is there inside STTP classes. So what is the role of STTP classes? Why we are learning? I'm going to explain you everything in detail. I'm just trying to introduce the small thing like whenever we wanted to get interface with the external world, we have to make a use of STTP classes. By the use of STTP classes, we can expose something from the Salesforce to the outer world. So this is the basic reason. Two more topics are being left with integration. After completing STTP classes, the next would be web services. And after that, it's going to be all end. So the next topic after it would be the web services. This is going to be the last topic. So yes, I would explain this web services concept by using, by using Workbench as well as Postman. So I wanted every one of you to install this application into your machine, Postman app. So we would require this maybe 15 days from today, but do this installation. If you find it any difficulties while this installation, just let me know on your WhatsApp group, nothing in the personal, please. So go and install this Postman because we are going to require this. And usually this is used in industry. Like we generally perform the integration either with the Workbench. Workbench is something you don't have to install. It's a cloud-based tool. और अदरवाइज वी यूज दिस पोस्टमैन. सो मैं आपको दोनों की आइडिया दूंगा, दोनों से इंटीग्रेशन वेब सर्विसेज जो है वो मैं फायर करके आपको रिजल्ट कैसे देखना वो दोनों से सिखाऊंगा. चलिए, after that we are going to end with this. That's all. So it's going to be ended probably in next 10 days. This month I have targeted, थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है, but with this month end I'm trying to complete your syllabus, your whole training. That's all. Any questions around? Any questions around? Yes, any questions? Anybody have? हाँ, एक छोटी सी बात है, just a moment.